It is movie review time in the district, and today's film is The Book of Eli. If you haven't seen this one, it's kind of flew under the radar a little bit. Starring Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, as well as Mila Kunis. I was surprised this didn't get a lot more talk than it did. You know what, it really just goes to show that Denzel Washington is pretty much a solid actor all the way around. I can't think of anything bad the guy's on. Everything he's in, he's just solid all the way through. Even if it's not an A+ movie, it is still a good movie. But let's just get right into it. I can tell you right now, my first thoughts of this movie, I was very skeptical. I didn't have that many high hopes, and I was a little curious. So going into it right away, I wasn't super ambitious. So I just wanted to get wowed. So the Book of Eli, basically it's a tale, a journey, if you will, about a lone wanderer who travels a post-apocalyptic land, not really specified where, although it is said in the movie that they're in the United States. Although directly where they are has never been specified, but that only adds to like the mystique of what actually happened. Travels a post-apocalyptic land with a mysterious book. Take a wild guess as to what the book is. I'll give you a hint. It's one of the best-selling books of all time. Correction, it is the best-selling book of all time. Also, one of the most debated books of all time. Draw your conclusions. And throughout this journey, he is encountered by these scavenger-type thugs along the way in his journey, who will steal and kill just as a means to get what they want. Right away, you can tell that this current world is not one for the weak and the naive and the people who are extremely gullible. This is survival of the fittest, man, and they make this point known pretty quickly. They did not slouch at all. Denzel Washington, he was kicking some serious butt and taking names throughout this whole movie, and I've always been amazed at how much, like, physique-wise, like, throughout his movies, you know, he might have a little weight on him, and then he'll lose it. And this one, he was actually a little bit on the lighter side. You could definitely tell it in his stomach and in his neck. He definitely lost weight on this for this role, and kudos to him, because, you know, he really pulled off what he was looking for. So the world is a wasteland of destruction and just the scum of the earth and thieves and people who are just stealing things for the sake of they want their they want what's theirs. It's a territory dispute. It's a it can be about anything. So imagine the worst place you would ever want to live in. This is probably it. Like, in a very realistic scenario, without, like, you know, without comic booking it up or anything like that. However, through all that, Eli, you see, he's clearly has lived in a time period prior to this where he still values humanity, and it makes you wonder, like, what happened. They never really go into what happens as far as how the world became as to what it is. They kind of hinted at a few things, like the big light or something like that. I don't want to misquote, but that really will get you interested. Some brief, but not too revealing spoilers. So yeah. You see the man before this whole thing occurred, and how he still has compassion for other people. He goes out of his way to protect them when he sees that they are being bullied and possibly even also threatened to be killed. However, you also see he needs to keep himself alive as well. So the threat is very real, which I applaud them for. The people who made this movie, they did a good job of making it believable. And in those post-apocalyptic movies, they usually tend to take a lot of luxuries. Here they didn't. I think they got a little ambitious for their time, and I'm very grateful for it. Checking my notes here. In the world, you were led to believe that everyone that's out to kill one another for things that you would just throw away, and they make that point known several times. So again, they're really honing in just how serious this is. Eli then gets to a town that is then played by our lead antagonist, Carnegie, Gary Oldman, who, again, I am a huge fan of. I was a fan of him in The Fifth Element. I was a fan of him in all the Christopher Nolan Batmans. I'm a fan of the guy. He's an incredible actor. And he was awesome in here. Carnegie ends up, I guess, somewhat befriending him or extending his loyalty or extending his graciousness by letting Eli stay in this one of their inns. Basically just because he saw how awesome Eli was at defending himself in a bar fight. I'm not going to get into it, but it was graphic and it was awesome. That's where he meets Mila Kunis, and then basically he sees that with her there's someone else there aside from just a scavenger piece of garbage. There is hope for humanity, and then that's where it just kind of picks up and moves off. You see these two interacting with each other. You see them working off of each other. It's not a huge pairing that works the way it does. There's a lot of twists and turns in this movie. Carnegie ends up going after them. Eli doesn't want to give him the book because he'll know that he'll use the book that Eli is carrying with him on this journey, which is the big point of this. This book is so gracious. This book is so powerful that if it falls into the wrong hands, it can end up Carnegie could do some real damage. Again, not gonna say what it is, but if draw a conclusion. So from here, I can say right now the movie reminds me of a combination of Mad Max, plus I almost want to say like a modern day version of the Crusades at time. Don't exactly quote me on that. That's a bit of a stretch. I could say right now the pros of this movie are the acting was solid all the way through. Denzel, Oldman, Kunis, one or two of the minor side characters, the acting was good. There was no slouching in this movie. The scenery and the settings were amazing. It really made you feel like you were in a world where literally nothing survived. The music matched the tone exquisitely, and when I mean exquisitely, like if I were to play to you the Walking Dead theme, you know what I'm playing you. If I were to play you the intro to Breaking Bad, you know what I'm playing you, and each music fits the tone. The tone here is that you live in a world where there is nothing. So that's what the music is. It's very dark. It basically is. It feels it gives off this empty feeling and very foreboding and ominous. So right away, you're like, it paints it adds layers to what's going on. Music. And the best part is that most music will take away from what's going on with the actors. That didn't happen here, so that was awesome. The ending I thought was cool because it was a nice little twist, and the good guys got their comeuppance. However, there were some cons in this movie. Some of the secondary cast was a little forgettable. Some of the secondary bad guys that should have been better known, you don't remember them that well. And some of them were a little underwhelming. Yeah, I mean, there's that. I mean, you just know that they're there. They're filler for the world around them. The ending, while it was good, it was also fairly predictable. There was no real physical, and spoiler alert on this, there was really no real confrontation between Eli and Carnegie and like a huge battle at the very end per se. However, there clearly is someone who came out victorious. So it's just not really a huge send-out ending, but again, I think to do that would have gone against what this movie was trying to do. So with that being said, my final thoughts of this movie are, it wasn't a huge blockbuster event, but I rather enjoyed it. It was a gritty survival/adventure story movie with good acting. It was fun to watch, a lot of intrigue. Again, the big twist at the end was a little spoiled for me because I kind of got spoiled on it. I was flipping through channels one day and I saw on a talk show he was talking about the movie, and sure enough, and I think it was Oprah, and I never watch Oprah, and I'm never gonna watch Oprah again after this. I'm flipping through it and I just see Denzel and they're like talking about the Book of Eli. I'm going, oh cool. And then it turns out Oprah, because she's a super genius, she goes, oh, by the way, here's the big plot twist toward the end. I'm like, thank you. You just completely buried the rest of this movie, any chance of people going and seeing it now and being surprised. Even still, I wanted to see it, and I was very surprised. The movie only really dropped off a couple parts. There was a few parts in the movie I really don't want to get into it too much about where it is and what happens, but you'll watch it and you feel like, yeah, it's they could have done without it. I will say that if you like movies with like very grainy, gritty settings, very somber tones, and I think well-spoken dialogue for the most part, then you really enjoy yourself. I usually tell most of the people who are into action scenes and fight scenes, anytime your lead role, who you believe is a badass guy, starts quoting scripture before he's about ready to lay waste to everyone in the room, that is a sign that you are going to have a good fight scene. Did not disappoint. So yeah, again, if you like movies with these kind of settings and stories and adventure and post-apocalyptic type movies, good versus evil, then you will definitely like this movie. Denzel makes Eli work, and I don't think anyone else could have done it any better than Eli. Again, it's Denzel. At one point, you're like, that's Eli. No, it's Denzel Washington. You get them mixed up, and that's how you can tell someone was really getting into the role. I will say the movie, to me, out of 5 stars, I would say it falls a 3.5 on your first watch, and I would say it falls between a 3 and a 3.5 for me. I would definitely own this on DVD. This is a very underrated movie. I highly recommend you give it a watch. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Would you rate it higher? Would you rate it lower? There's other movies that you would recommend. Maybe another Denzel Washington movie to do. Maybe I should make a whole month dedicated to Denzel. I don't see a problem with that. As a matter of fact, I can think of a bunch of movies I would like to do reviews on. Dragonfly, Deja Vu, Flight, Equalizer, and those are just off the top of my head. American Gangster. Getting ahead of myself. Let me calm down. Alright. Well, that was the Book of Eli. And just tell me what you think. And thank you guys for watching these reviews. And until next time, I will see you all later.